productive weekend. Even if it wasn't productive, we're giving you full permission to take a load off and get some rest, recharge, vibe with us. You are in good hands today. We have three of the most spirited and well organized people that I know. We have Fakita, Ola, and Jasmine here to drop some gems with you. I'm so excited about what they're going to share. Definitely drop some love in the chat. And if you have questions, drop them in the questions. I'll make sure that they can revert back if they can be any assistance to you. But let's dive in. So as you can tell, I'm very excited about this because you guys get to talk about all the things. And I say all the things because as an entrepreneur, we're at the intersection of everything, right? Like sales and marketing and branding and finance and product development, right? So if you all could, first, before we dive into that, please tell us about your backgrounds individually, whatever you want to share. Jazz, we'll start with you.
Hi, Queens. My name is Jasmine Prince. I am the founder and CEO of Magnolia and Pen Consulting, where I support new Black women entrepreneurs and understanding their why and connecting their gifts and talents to be able to find their expertise. When I am not working on my business in my 9-to-5, I work in higher education, specifically diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so doing a lot of programming with college students. And so love everything about creating spaces for particularly people of color, but more importantly for Black women. And so I am so excited to be here to chat with you all today.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jazz. I'm excited that you're here. Fakita, next to you.
Hey, everybody. So I am Fakita Goodwin. I am a certified professional career development coach. I specialize in teaching career and organizational strategies. I have been in technology, supporting various aspects of technology from MIS to identity and access management, and today in cybersecurity. One of my primary areas of focus is just really making sure that not only entrepreneurs, but those who are transitioning from full-time employee status to full-time entrepreneurial status, that they really understand how to plan, how to cultivate a culture of organization and not becoming overwhelmed. So y'all already know I am already hyped about this conversation because this is my love language. So this is my absolute love language.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm so happy you're a part of this conversation. You get it, Fakita, like your workshop is so fire. So you're the one we need on the line for reals. Beautiful. And Ola, we'll kick it to you. Please tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey, good people. My name is Ola Kimball. I am a wife. I am a mom. I am all the things. No, but seriously, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. By day, I am a corporate IT project manager and program manager. And by night, and every other day and every other time of day, I'm a productivity coach. And I help faith-driven entrepreneurs systemize their time so that they're able to experience and design freedom for their business and in their life.
I love that.
Right, yeah.
We're gonna stay over there, right? Because this is clearly your lane. Like, as a matter of fact, you call helping people build plans and strategy your superpower. Yes. Love that. So I really want you to help kind of unpack what causes some of this overwhelm for people, right? In your opinion, and let me highlight that this is at all stages of the climb. Like, people with a whole lot of money and a lot of scale still have overwhelm, right? And still need help getting it all together. So what do you believe is some of the things that causes these issues? I know you have some beliefs on hustle culture versus strategic sprinting, as well as, the dangers of planning too far ahead.
So yes, planning and strategizing are my love language. They are also my superpower. I'd say that I had that superpower pretty much as a young child, and I developed that being in survival mode. I was a daughter to a single mom who was like working 2 to 3 jobs, and she was in corporate and she was still working multiple jobs trying to make sure we were all taken care of. And so me and my older sister, it was just us two at home. And I was the type of child, I needed to know what was going on and when was it going to happen, because we also moved a lot. So that pretty much is what cultivated me having to plan a lot. And then also, I was also in my imagination, like all the time. I thought I was Harriet the Spy. And if you know Harriet the Spy, you know what I'm talking about, the composition notebook and everything. And I would spy on my neighbors. So I knew their license plate number. I knew when they was leaving, what time, and what time they came back. Now, at that age, I didn't know some things I would know now, but I was able to, provide a really good police report. So between my curiosity, because that's what we're going to call it, and then me planning and me really just trying to create different projects around the house, my sister would get sick of me and she'll just tell me, go do something. And so I would plan vacations for these people. I would plan it all. I would get on my mom's nerves. I'm like, I need to see what the books are looking like. And she's like, what book? No, you're 6 years old. Go play with the dolls. It's like, no, I need to see what these finances are looking like. I need to see, like, what are we doing? When's the next trip? When are we moving? Stuff like that. So that's really where my foundation came from when it came to planning and strategizing. It was basically me being nosy. So one thing that I've noticed growing up, and even now, and developing that skill more and more through college, through my corporate career, is that a lot of times the things that trip us up and overwhelm us is that we are trying to control things that we have no control over, instead of focusing on the things that we can control. So doing stuff like that causes us to really fall victim to catastrophizing situations. We get in our head a lot. We start making things, a lot bigger than it really is. And even if it is that big, can you really do something about it? If not, let's move on to the thing you can control, you can do something about, and let's focus on that. Because that'll relieve a lot of the anxiety, the lot of frustration and everything else that we may feel. So that's one key to really getting it together, is really just identify everything that's going on, identify what you can control and identify what you can't control. Once you're able to do that, you'll know what to focus on. Now, when it comes to this hustle culture, I'm sorry, but I don't hustle. I don't hustle at all. My thing is, have strategic sprints when you are in the mode to really work. Now, I don't put work hard and hustle in the same category at all. With me, hustle creates that frustration. It creates anxiety. When you're hustling, you're operating from strife. You are operating from little organization, if any organization at all. And you're hurrying and you're rushing. So you're always doing this. So you're basically a hamster in a wheel going nowhere because you're rushing. But when you are operating from strategic sprints, then you have a plan, you have structure, you have organization, you are in flow. You have a defined vision, you have a defined mission, goal, and you have steps that you have already charted out. So you've taken the time to really sit back, sit into what your goal is and what you're trying to do, and then you're making that plan. And if you find that, sometimes you may get to a goal and it may be a little bit too large, or maybe you felt like you took a chunk too large, then that just means you need to break it down more. Once you break it down more, it becomes easier for you to do those things. Both require hard work, but it's strategic. Goodness gracious, it's strategic sprints that's going to give you the advantage. And in the end, you have greater success rate and a greater chance of acceleration. And I'm talking about massive acceleration when you really focus on what are my commitments, what are my yeses, and what are my nos, what are my boundaries. When you know what those are, you don't have to worry about hustling, because you're going to be able to outwork and beat whoever else is out there that's hustling, because you already have your focus. Mm-hmm. You're in flow.
That is really powerful. I think the strategy you're giving really helps to empower the individual, right? They're saying, exactly, focus on the things that you cannot control, and the things that you cannot control, do not have anxiety around it. Release that, right? Exactly. Yep. I think it's a great lens, because what you're saying is that no one is failing if they can't master the things that are out of reach, right? No one is being lazy, no one is being dismissive. We choose that, and then the smaller chunks And even though, and I'll say, right, like we hear some of these things from other people, right? Like we hear some of these things from professors that teach us who don't look like us, right? We hear these things from commercials on TV, from consultants, et cetera, who don't look like us. So I think hearing it from a Black woman, right, who understands that Big Mama did it all, right? And she carried it on the back, and you saying it's okay, right? And you saying let go of certain things, I think that can free a lot of people. So thank you so much, Ola. I agree with everything you said. Does anyone want to add anything to what Ola said?
I love, so many things resonate because again, I am a Scrum Master and an Agile enthusiast. So working in the sprint, making sure that the time box has valuable details and that you're only focusing on the things that you can commit to and complete within the time box, and not overdoing your work, focusing heavily on the increment and the smallest part. Those are all things that, are really kind of back of hand for me, my day-to-day. And then how I integrate that Scrum and Agile framework into my processes with my clients, because I think, Casey, to your point, this really isn't conceptually DevOps and software development and all of that acumen is not part of our growing up culture. So we don't talk to our children about what it looks like to break down a complete project methodology or a mindset or a framework. We don't talk to our kids about doing your homework this way, focusing 20 minutes here and 20 minutes. We don't socialize and we don't articulate things that way to our children because it wasn't articulated to us. Meanwhile, when we look at, friends and coworkers on the other side of the table, that is a normal process for them because their parents were engineers and architects and technical leads and things like that. So they have a technology discipline at the dinner table, whereas us growing up, a lot of us single parent homes, or we were latchkey kids. So dinner was the oldest child making sure that the younger kids ate. So we didn't have enough of that dynamic to be able to share that type of information. So I make sure that, in my practice and in my business, that is information that we are now recycling back into the community. The only thing that you didn't say was talk about the retrospective, is making sure that we take time to review the work and then get rid of the waste. If it didn't work, be different from Big Mama. She kept doing stuff because that's all she knew, and those are the only resources that she had available. But now that we know that something doesn't work and it doesn't serve us, we're not going to take that forward into our future. We're going to leave it right there and let it die, and we're going to keep working on new things until we can evolve into a better process.
Yeah, this is healing. Like, this is healing, y'all, because now we're moving away from striving to be better, like a better human, and realizing that, like, protect this, you are good, you are whole, your ideas are valid, but protect this. Like, it's no longer taking what they give us and doing the best we can with it. Like, y'all are at this summit because y'all are building your own businesses and you create your own tables, right? So everything y'all are saying is protecting this right here. Like, protect your mental health, protect your capacity, right? Like, protect your boundaries, right? By taking increments, and these things don't matter at a particular point in time. So I love it so much. So now I want to talk in a different lens a little bit, right? Because Ola talked about how when she was a kid, like, she was aligned to these gifts, right? Like, these are patterns that showed up for her, and it makes her geek out over this stuff and excited, right? But not everyone has that passion, right? And a lot of times when we benchmark ourselves and do personality tests and all that, we're looking for, like, what are our blind spots? What am I weak at? And we kind of say, well, dog, I'm not good enough, right? But Vakiva and Jasmine, I want you guys to kind of talk about what we do, right, when we can't seem to organize the chaos, and we do need the benefit of bringing somebody in who likes this stuff, right? Jazz, I want to start with you. But what are the benefits of seeking out, right, that professional professional who is gifted in doing these things versus trying to do it all by ourselves as business owners?
Well, I think the number one benefit is that like it frees you up to do stuff that you enjoy doing, that is within sort of your zone of genius. And so Ola just talked about strategic sprints. And so when you alleviate some of like the stress and anxiety of like, I'm unorganized, I'm unsure how to do this thing, I'm trying to learn my productivity, but when you sort of outsource and offload that to someone else, then you get to take strategic sprints within your zone of genius. And so you continue to feel full within your business because you're focusing a lot of your time and energy in the spaces where you really shine and where like you're like, yeah, I'm in my bag when I'm doing this thing specifically. And organization and workflow and process might not be your thing, and that's okay, right? And so I think that one, it takes like the stress off of you, it takes the pressure off and just gives you space to like be visionary and be creative. And I think for me, what it has allowed me to do, and this is more like in the professional sense, right? I'm learning how to translate this into business, is that I think it has given me just space to rest, right? That as I have learned how to be more organized, I've learned like more about productivity, my own sort of rhythms around productivity. I have learned that like I, as an individual, like I have to build in rhythms of rest within productivity, right? And that's not like, oh, like I've done 85 things on my list,
right?
So now I can take a break. It's like, I'm doing 5 things and then I do need to take a break because mentally, like that is how it works for me. And so I think that it gives you time to rest. If you have to get into the weeds of it on your own, like building sort of the rhythms around what that looks like for you, I think is really important. But I think for me, it just takes the pressure off of it. I'm not always the most organized. I am not like Ola. I did not grow up like with the organization gene. It's a learned skill. And so because it's a learned skill, I often am looking to like, where can I delegate this? Where can I automate this? Where can I like hire someone to do this? Because like, this is not my bread and butter. I've learned how to do it well when I need to do it well, but like, I would rather let someone else do it. And so I think it's recognizing what your capacity is, and what the necessity of your capacity is to do that thing too.
I love that, Jess, because there's so much self-awareness in that. Like, and I kind of get back to this notion of healing ourselves, right? Like, we have to admit what our limitations are and be okay with that. And that takes a whole another level of courageousness, right? And strength. But I love that because you said, I mean, I think we all probably guess what are the benefits are, like higher productivity and increased revenue, but sis said rest. Like, I can rest. That is huge, Black women. Thank you so much for that perspective, Jazz. And Bakita, what about you? What are some of the benefits that you'd like to highlight that come from outsourcing this stuff to people who are really good at it?
Yeah, so I always try to address the mindset that keeps us focusing on the bad behaviors that really don't elevate us. So when you think about us just as Black women, planning, journals, all of that's not us, right? It has always been associated as something that white women who were housewives did. They were the planners, they had the journals and all of that. What we did and what we saw is that our mothers were constantly racing. They had children to take care of, they had jobs, they had, elderly parents that they were taking care of. So they were always racing, they were always doing things. And then sometimes even there was just a mindset and a mantra that came out of that was, oh, that's good enough, that's fine, that's good, but we got to keep going, we got to move on to the next thing. The truth is that good enough is not good. Good enough is, we didn't actually meet the mark, but this is gonna have to work because we're too busy and we have to do some other things. But if you didn't have to do all of those other things, could good enough actually be great stuff, right? So could you have, to Jasmine's point, could you have gotten a full night's rest? So the next morning you're actually refreshed and you're not forgetting things because your mind is now functioning at 100% versus the 10% that it was functioning at because you decided that good enough is just it's gonna have to do it today, and we're forgetting necessary things. So one of the big things is, I think Jasmine touched on it, delegating, it's okay and it's actually healing to ask for help. And if you are not capable to carry something by yourself, you are more efficient and more effective, and you will go further if somebody else is there to help you tote the load. So the benefits of pulling in resources, pulling in other people that have a skill and expertise to do some of the stuff that you can't do, even if that means that you need to hire some cleaning people to come in and wash the dishes at the end of the week. Let the dishes pile up in the sink. And then when the professionals come in, let them wash, buff, polish, shine, and stack them bad boys back up in the cabinet. You know what that did? It doesn't rob you of your effectiveness as an individual because you didn't have time to wash the dishes. It actually shows how brilliant you are that you allow the dishes to remain in the place where they can accumulate dirty, safe from everything else. And then you brought in somebody else who has a skill and they have the capacity to do exactly what you needed to do. And then you just provided them with all the requirements. So now that has moved you out of a space of being victim and rushing to being a stakeholder and a business owner. And so now you're able to delegate, provide requirements, give complete specifications about what needs to be done, and then somebody else can execute on the task. And all you're doing is checking a box because at the end of the week, all the dishes got washed, dried, and put away. Here, the way we heal ourselves by not feeling the pressure to repeat the mistakes of the previous generation. Here's the thing. I'll tell you a quick story. I was listening to a song on the radio, and the particular artist, he has a speech impediment. So the way that he sings, it has a certain sound, and it's really intriguing. It's a beautiful sound, but it comes from his deficiency. And so I heard another young artist who really liked this artist try to mimic the sound that this particular person is now, it's his signature sound. You're trying to mimic somebody else's deficiency. That's his ailment. That's not a gift. He made something that was broken work on his behalf. And you came up behind him in ignorance, thinking that it was his deficiency that made him great. And so you decided to not use your own gifting and your full potential and explore what your voice is going to sound like. You decided to mimic somebody else's frailty. And that's what we do with the previous generation. That was their frailty because they didn't have access to the information and the resources that we have today. And so we mimic their frailty. We mimic their disenfranchisement, and we try to make it work, and it becomes good enough. And I'm telling y'all, good enough ain't great. Let that go. Ask somebody to help you so that you can be awesome, because that's our destiny, is to be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Man, I see y'all spirit getting happy. So, Ola, we'll start with you and Jazz. I want to hear your reactions.
Okay, listen, Pakita and Jasmine is about to have me out here like running around in circles because I'm like, yes, tell them, let them know. Ladies, listen. I hope you caught every single jewel that was dropped. And if not, look, rewind. We're going to do this again. But like they said so many good things. My favorite pieces, really, when it comes to delegating that work, when Jasmine said know your rhythm, that is so important. You have to know what you're good at, what you're great at, and what you are not so great at. Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to pay an invoice. Look, people love doing the stuff they love to do. So let them, pay that invoice and let them love doing the stuff for you. I used to die on the hill of being Superwoman. Mm-hmm. Growing up, it wasn't until I was recently where I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. When we talk about burnout, when we talk about overwhelm, it's a choice that we are making ourselves. Mm-hmm. We are choosing to be burnt out. We are choosing to be overwhelmed. We are choosing to have the mindset that says, I need to do it because if I don't do it, it won't get done, or it won't get done the right way. And that is not necessarily true. You just have to make sure the person you are delegating it to can do it the way you need it done, if not better. And we have to get away from thinking, look, and this is me speaking to me also, we have to get away from thinking that, listen, like everyone's got something going on, so let me just go ahead and do it because I'm right here. That does not serve anyone, especially if it's not your gifting. And you can be honest with yourself, it's not your gifting. and also, like, if you already have a lot on your plate, divide the plate up and like let the people do their thing. Because when it comes, like for me, when it comes to especially housework, I love my child, but he will get a task so quick, fast, in a hurry when he says, Mom, do you need help with anything today? Yeah, yes, son, I do. Look, when we are like, especially with our businesses, you still have a life outside your business. So your business can't consume your life. That 9 to 5 can't consume your life. So when it comes to the life stuff, listen, like delegate it. Hey, babe, hey, boo thing, whoever it is. Listen, can you take care of dinner tonight? Because I'm really trying to do something and I'm already in the flow. So like, can you help me out? Don't be afraid to ask for help. Asking for help is not a weakness. It is a strength. Like Paquita said, it is a strength for you to be able to ask for help. If you are thinking that, no, if I'm asking for help, that means I can't do it, it's because it's true. That's not a weakness. That is one self-awareness strength. So that is something that we all need. That's not only self-awareness, but that's also self-management. And those are two of the branches of emotional intelligence. So when you're extremely emotionally intelligent, you're already on the step forward of becoming more successful than maybe 50 to 90% of the people out there. Because everyone else is thinking, I got to do it myself. I have to do this. I'm self-made. No, we are not self-made. We were created for community.
Yeah.
If you go back before our grandmothers and grandfathers and great grandparents, it was, even back then, it was a community. That was the reason why I said it takes a village to raise a child, because it wasn't just grandma who was raising your mom. It wasn't just your mama who was raising you. I had my mom, I had her siblings, my aunts and uncles. I had people who I don't know where they came from, but they said, listen, go to Miss So-and-so's house. She gonna take care of you tonight because I gotta go to work. And that was her saying, listen, I can't do it all, so I'm asking for help. So you have to be cognizant enough to ask for the help, accept the help. When someone's asking you, do you need any help? Say yes. Even if you don't know what it is, say yes, but I'm not sure what I need help with yet. But I know I need some help. Because otherwise you're going to be extremely stressed. You're not going to be able to put forth your best effort. You're not going to be able to operate in excellence. You're going to be operating at the 10% brain capacity instead of the 90%. You won't know what your rhythms are because you're all over the place. And so your body is like, I'm all over the place all the time. And then you're going to end up getting sick. And then when you're sick, you're really going to need help. And you're not going to be able to do the things that you would normally be able to do. So look, write all the keys down. Write them down and practice them.
These ladies are healing some things today. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Ola. Jazz, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, so 2 things came to mind. One from the previous question, and I just want to say this, that hustle culture is not designed for Black women, like, period. It's not designed for us to survive, and it absolutely is not designed for us to thrive. And so we've got to throw whatever conditioning that we have received, that like you got to be a hustler to like be worthy or to be like in your bag, because it's not true. And that culture is not designed for Black women specifically, right? Like we already know we struggle to, like, with these super women complexes, we do all of the things. And so if you're doing all of the things, you shouldn't be hustling, because then that would mean something about that is off balance. So I'm gonna say that. The other thing I would say, and to add on to what both Ola and Paquita have said around asking for help, and I wanna just disrupt this idea that I can't delegate, one, because like it feels like I'm a burden if I ask for help. It feels like I'm weak, like we've already talked a little bit about that. But what I am learning is that when I delegate, right, like I make space to do something else, but I also give someone else the ability to increase their own capacity. And so delegation and asking for help is a form of trust right? It's a form of relationship building, and for me, is a form of intimacy. Like if I'm asking you to help me do something in my business, if I'm asking for you to help me do something on my job, like I take a lot of pride in my work ethic and in my work product. And so there are very few people that I like to put their hands on things that my name is attached to, right? And so I think all of us, right, there, like our businesses, right, like the work that we do, that's our brand. And like we have a standard of excellence that we want anyone who's outsourcing and assisting us to be able to live up to. And so I think that oftentimes we don't delegate because it's like, well, so-and-so is not going to do it the way that like I do it. And it's like, well, yeah, that's okay, because they have their own way to do it. They're not you. And so even if you give the best instructions, the most detailed like breakdown of like, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, and then I need you to go back and A times B times C is equal to another thing. And like, this is the process. When we're giving it to other people, we have to give them space for their gifts to show up in that process, right? And I have been like pleasantly surprised when I have delegated something. I've been like, okay, yeah, it's gonna turn out like this because I gave all the things, this is how I would do it. And then it comes back, I'm like, wow, this is much better than I would have done. And I didn't tell you to do it this way, but because your gifts and your skills and your talents and the way that you think is different than me, like it shows up. And it's different than what I would do, but it fits the standard, right? And so I think that we have to get away from like, well, if I ask someone else to do it, they're not gonna do it the way that I'm gonna do it. Yeah, because you're not doing it and you don't need to be doing it, so give it to somebody else. And knowing that like, as long as you do your job in communicating what the standard is, letting people have some autonomy within bringing their own skills and talents into the standard and allowing that to be okay, right? Because if your standard is excellence, then excellence looks different for other people based on their gifts and talents. And so I just want to disrupt that. That's me speaking to like past me, and past me is in like 2 days ago me. Needed that reminder 2 days ago, right? And so I think that because we take on so much, we as Black women, like we feel the pressure to do all the things, to be all the things to all the people, that we often forget that like there are other folks who like are in their bag about different things, that do things like in ways that we would never think to do, that make our stuff better, right? And that's the goal, right? That's why you bring on teams, and that's why like the village mentality of community, wealth, and collectiveness works, because everybody comes with something different, and it's those collective things that make something like whole and excellent.
That's so fire. Like, y'all, this is everything that these women have said. This is planning in progress in entrepreneurship. Like, this is it. Understanding it in your bones, right? Like, having a mindset of I'm not the last rung on the ladder. I am actually a priority, right? So I am worthy of delegating this to other people for help, right? This is planning in progress in entrepreneurship. And these are thought leaders. So I'm happy that they are debunking myths. I'm very, very happy that they are giving you challenges, right? Challenging you to say, yeah, they might do it better than you, and that's okay. Live with it, deal with it, right? I love it. I love it, love it, love it, ladies. Thank you for those perspectives. I want to throw a different question out there just to get some first reactions, just because the spirit is so high in this conversation, right? Will either of you be able to share a time in your life where you were so overwhelmed, so stubborn about getting help, right? Thank you. Where you were so stubborn and waited too long to get help, right? Like, what was the aftermath of that mistake for you?
I will jump in. I recently added a product to my business. And in doing so and adding that product, and I didn't wait too long, because initially I wanted to outsource the work completely, but I couldn't, just with all of the things with shipping and all of that, I just wasn't able to do it. So I was like, I could do this. I could produce this on my own. And I did. And then I started talking about it and selling it. And then the orders started coming in. And I was like, So I don't know how many of these I'm going to actually be able to do because my SLA says that I'm going to do this, but that's not happening. I was down to the last like 2 days. The night before I knew my orders needed to go out, I was laying in my bed. It's like 4 a.m. and I'm just crying. God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be able to get these orders out. And so finally I went to my daughter, who I had done all the things that we've been talking about. I've been like, she's getting ready to, class is about to start again. I don't want to bother her and add this additional, work onto her plate. Here I am up against the clock, like literally up against the clock. Sometimes I think that God will allow us to get to that moment that we feel like we're about to break, because he knows there's no other way that we're going to say, okay, I need help. I need help. I need somebody. I finally went to my daughter. I was like, so can you help me do X, Y, Z? She was just like, yeah, Ma, I was leaving you alone because you know how you get. So I didn't want to bother you. When I tell you, she was able to knock so much work off my plate that I came in so far under my window and had time to spare and do all of this other stuff. And when it was all said and done, I just looked at her and I was just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I didn't trust that you could actually do what I needed to get done. And that I selfishly thought that by not asking you that I was doing the right thing. I wasn't doing the right thing. And I completely disregarded the fact that she actually was waiting. She had been waiting all along for me to say, okay, well, when you pulling me in, tag me in, coach, I'm ready. Like, what we doing? Sometimes we deny other people the opportunity to bless us because we are just stuck in our own ways, just being selfish. So this is just, Ola, just like you said, we're all preaching to ourselves. This is lessons that we need to learn, and sometimes things that we just need to be reminded of. Yeah, I do this for a living. I do this professionally, but sometimes when it's important to turn the tables and support myself, I don't do what other people pay me to tell them to do. I don't do it for myself for free. Sometimes I have to almost crash and burn before I remember, girl, why? Why? So much money you almost lost because you couldn't fulfill what you were supposed to fulfill because you didn't ask, because you just did not ask. And you are surrounded by resources. And sometimes we get in that mode of thinking that we have to, and we don't have to, y'all. Be free from feeling like you have to do it all. You don't have to.
That's right. And that's true for all of us. We have all been there. Like we have all been there, right? Where we are trying to do it all. And as a result, we're doing it wrong, right? And we helping everybody else, right? But behind the curtain, we're not doing the same thing. I'm going to give you a stat. In 2019, American Express, they commissioned this research report on women-owned businesses in the U.S. Look it up. It's called State of Women-Owned Business Report. And they surveyed all demographics of female-owned businesses. And Black women, we started the most companies at the fastest clip. Still today, like in 2021, like 17% of all Black women are starting new businesses or running new businesses, right? But Black women made $24,000 per year. That was their revenue. That's the average revenue. I'm gonna pause right there. The average, we are starting the most businesses at the fastest rate, but the average revenue is $24,000 per year. White women, $218,800 per year. All women combined. We throw in Pacific Islander, we throw in Latinas, right? We throw in all the other races, including white women. All women combined, $149,000 per year. Black women are way, 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 way low, right? But it goes to these problems we're talking about. And again, we're all guilty of it. You cannot scale if you're working by yourself. I'm gonna say it again. You cannot scale if you're working by yourself. You have 10 fingers, right? You have 2 eyes, you have 1 mouth. You just can't. So it's not just about revenue. But I'm increasing my products. I mean, my prices are not, no. Like, we got to figure out how to get 1,000 units out the door, sis, right? if that's what we need to do. Right? We gotta figure out how
Absolutely.
overnight sell 100 courses and we sleeping if that's what we need to do, right?
Right.
So I love everything y'all are saying. It is super fire, and I want to stay in that vein. Ola, can you tell us who in your life works to help you in your processes? Who do you lean on the most for support?
God. I'm so serious. Right. Because I get convicted often when it comes to that hill of superhuman, superwomanhood. Yes. So in addition to that, I'll say definitely my husband. And then when it comes specifically to me building my business and me just working in my business, it has to be like my biz besties. So my accountability partners, like those are the ones, because we're rocking the same way. So they know like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a couple of hours. You said you was going to do X, Y, and Z. Where's the product? Or even down to, hey, you said you was going to post today. I haven't seen a post. So even small stuff like that, but even to the larger vision. My husband keeps me accountable, like almost to the point where it like he's intentionally hurting me, and he knows he's hurt. Like when I'm saying hurting, I'm saying like hurting my ego, because like let's be really honest here. Our ego gets us in all the trouble. It is our ego. It's our ego that thinks that we can do it all. It's our ego that gets mad because we may see somebody else doing something that we had the idea, had it mapped out or everything. They were just quicker executioners on it. So it's our ego that gets in our own way. And so he's like, I need to see the plan so then I can like appropriately keep you accountable for what you said you was going to do. If you're saying that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, then I need to make sure I know that so then I can see where's the harvest. This is the seed you sowed. Where's the harvest? Like, where's the work? Are you doing the work? Because if he doesn't see me doing the work, if he says, you know, I'm even looking at your Google Calendar. I don't see an appointment. So that means you haven't reached enough people, or something's not something. And the work's not working. So what are you doing? And why are you sitting here? And I'm like, I was taking a break. He said, yeah, but you took your break. That was 30 minutes. You watched one episode. I think you've refreshed enough to go do some more work. All right. I'll be mad. I'll have my face and all that, but then I have to step back and be like, you know what? I asked you to do this. And like, allow your accountability partners, allow your people or your person, allow them to hold you accountable. Give them permission to check you, because we all need checking. And like, our feelings are going to get hurt. We may have a little attitude, side eye, all of that. It's okay. We'll get over it. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's definitely been my husband who's been like, y'all, it's rough out here. Ooh, I'll even say this. I almost said no to this opportunity because I was scared. I was like, I don't think I can. No, I think maybe if I just don't respond, then it'll just go away. Now on this piece, I knew I couldn't do that because one, my biz bestie, who even told Casey, I know she would have been in the DMs, in the Marco Polo, in the text message, the phone call. I wouldn't be surprised if she would drive down to where I was to be like, yo, what's happening? I don't see you on any of the agenda. Because I let my ego get in the way. I felt like I didn't have enough, or I wasn't good enough, or maybe this isn't the opportunity for me. And y'all, I'm having so much fun. Like just being able to like pour into you, being able to share my story, being able to like, that is a form of accountability. So don't be afraid, like step into it, lean into it.
Yes.
Because no, you're right, Paquita. You are 100% correct. Yes. Because Everything you need, you already have. To be quite frank, your experience is what you needed. You already have that experience. You already went through all that fire. You went through all that mess. You've done it. That's what got you to this point right here. That's what got you into this room. Sit in it and allow yourself to lean into it. It's going to get uncomfortable. It's going, like, you're going to be afraid, but that's what you need in order to get to that next level. That and rest. Please rest. Rest is productive. Rest. Don't go out here hustling.
It's a scam.
Okay. Right.
Right? This is planning and progress in entrepreneurship. I'm gonna say it again. Like, this is what needs to feel familiar to y'all, right? Like your transparency is profound, it's powerful, but it's showing people that they are not alone, right? That they need accountability partners, right? And it's okay to need accountability partners, right? And it's okay with getting a little sting where you're like, I know this day it's been 3 weeks and you didn't do, you're not, like, it's okay. We're human. I love that you hold space for humanness in your life, right? It's super dope. Jazz, what about you? What support system do you have?
Okay, wait, before I get into my support system, I just gotta reiterate, I hope y'all were listening, because Ola talked about her partner, her husband specifically, and I hope y'all took the note of, like, get you a partner who's gonna hold you accountable and who's also gonna keep you humble.
That part.
Like, if you're partnered already, invite them into that process. If you're like me and you are looking forward to being partnered, like, put that on the list as, like, that's a non-negotiable on the list. Like, having someone who is invested in you, like, building what you are building currently, who, like, is gonna get down and get in the weeds with you about it, but who's also going to be like, hey, Insecure went off 30 minutes ago. You need to go do something with your business before we go to bed, right? Like, you need, like, your partners specifically. Like, I think oftentimes we give our partners a pass to, like, oh, like, that's not their thing, or, you know, this is like my baby and they came in at a different point. Like, get your partner that's gonna be just as invested in your success as you are. Okay, so I hope y'all didn't miss that gem that Ola had dropped. Okay, I would say mine are very simple, like God, period. I also have a set of business besties, some that our businesses are growing up together. So we are sort of starting and in a very similar season. I have some that are a few steps ahead. And so I think that, like, that level of just, like, peer mentorship and peer accountability is really important. I've been fortunate to be able to invest in some business coaching communities, and that has been really helpful for me. Those women, particularly those coaches, have been, like, really dope and dynamic women who have, like, gotten me out of my own head, have pushed me more than I wanted to be pushed, but then, like, I gave them permission to do that. And so I just sort of leaned into that process. And then I would say I have, interestingly enough, like, I have a group of women in my life who, like, are my sisters, who are not in business. And I lean on them a lot because they are all women of faith. And so I trust their wisdom and I trust their counsel. And they are the people who I also bounce ideas off of. And I'm like, you know, my target audience. I have one, I'm thinking of one specific friend, like, you're white, my target audience is Black women. But you always have wise counsel. And I know that you care about, like, the mission of my business. And so there are times when I'm like, okay, like, I haven't fully thought through this idea and I just need to, like, talk through it to then be able to, like, write it down. I'm like, okay, I need, like, 10 minutes. I just need to bounce something off you. I need a little bit of feedback, like, and then I probably will come back to you when it's a little more fully baked. And so I'm thankful for the folks in my life who are not doing business, because they have a very different perspective on my business. And I think that there's a healthy balance of, like, yeah, like, I have all these, like, coaching and I have business besties who are, like, in the mix and they understand it and they get it. But then I need people outside of entrepreneurship who just want to see me do well, right? And who are like, yeah, that's a great vision. And who also are going to be like, did you, like, ask God about that? I'm like, well, no, because I just wanted to talk about it. I didn't have time to ask nobody.
That part.
I asked him first, right. Let me backtrack, right? And so, like, I have those people. I have, you know, the folks who remind me to rest and, like, hey, like, and who are just like, yeah, your content's really cute. Like, I'm loving it. I'm like, I'm not making it for you, but And then I would say my mom. I think my mom is like she's like my biggest supporter. My mom does not do business, but she just loves that my business is named after my grandmother and my great grandmother. And so she asked me about it a lot. And she like comes to the live. Mom doesn't even get on Instagram, but like I'm like, I'm gonna go live, and she would be on the live for like 5 minutes and be like, hey. And so like that matters, right? Like that support matters, that like the people that have always been a part of my journey, right? Like are the people that are continuing to invest into like seeds of encouragement. And so I think that's really important. I would say the last person that I'm thinking of that I can name that's been a really amazing support system has been one of my older brothers. He was in business maybe a year before me, and he has a photography business. And so when I was telling him like, hey, I want to do this thing, he's like, oh, I got you on the photos. Like, you already know I got you. And it was the fact that like, I didn't have to ask, and you just knew. And you also know that the expectation is that like, when we link up, we're going to take photos because I got a business and I need new photos. And just being able to like chat business with him, I think has allowed us to bond in a really different way as adults. And it feels a lot like how we used to like hang out and connect and like chat when we were much younger. And so that's been really fun. And that was not something that I anticipated, that like, oh yeah, like my brother's like gonna go hard for me, and like he's gonna make sure like all this stuff looks right, and he's gonna like, we're gonna talk business and things. And so I would say that regardless of who's on your team and who your people are, right? Like making sure that you have a well-rounded community and you know where you can go for certain things, right? And so my brother, he's not talking to me about productivity. That's not his lane. Like I've been talking to him about like, hey, get your life together. But I know that like I have business besties who we're like, okay, like we're gonna get on a call and we're gonna plan, and we're gonna do this work, and like, you know, it's a co-working session. Like know who you're gonna go to when it's like, yo, I'm about to quit. Like I'm done. Like I'm ready to throw it in the towel. Like you need to know who are the people that are going to give you what you need in the moments where you want to quit, who are going to celebrate with you, right? Who are going to hold you accountable and who are going to keep you humble. And that may not be every single person in your community. And so I think it's important, one, that there's well-rounded perspective. And then two, that you're aware of like the roles that they play in your support, right? Because everybody can't be all things for you either. And so figuring out like where you lean on people and for what you do that for.
Yeah, that's so healthy, Jasmine. Like you're being very intentional about putting a multifaceted, right, system around you. And it's so smart, because entrepreneurship is scary, right? So sharing your baby with people, oh my gosh, because they're gonna actually react. And who wants to, be embarrassed or rejected, right? But I love that you are being intentional about it. I can't even imagine the growth that you've experienced in short periods of time because of it. I know when I force myself, and I'm still forcing myself to change my mindset of like, man, I'm cold. I can do any of this stuff, right? And I invest in, people on the branding side, and I realized, oh, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like, thank you, like it's really like that, right? So I think that's fire that you're doing that. Paquita, I know your daughter helped you, obviously. She saved the day with this project. Are there any other members of your support system?
Yeah, so I have been blessed. We have 4 adults. We have 4 children. I call them adults because they're kids and they're trying to be grown-ups right now. Our sons don't live home, but our 2 girls do. They're 21 and 25. One's a producer and one is in medicine. And so their schedules are just busy. And it was important for me to really fully branch off into my own kind of business journey while they're at this point in their life, because I want them to see what transformation looks like and what reinvention looks like. And I want them to know I've invested years in the corporate space of building other people and building other people's visions. And now I want to take this other half of my own story and start doing that for myself. And I wanted them to see what that looked like and what this experience was for me. So they are like, do it, already, like, let's go, mom, let's go. So So, and I love them, and because they're my girls, they're very opinionated and very inquisitive, and sometimes that, you know, that vibe just don't work for me. I'm like, this is my thing. Shut up. I don't need you telling me what to do. And I love that they are so fearless to the point that they're just like, okay, you don't have to listen to us, but I'm still gonna tell you, like, that's not a good look, Ma, and you wouldn't pay for that. I'm just saying, but I'm gonna leave you alone because you're in a mood right now. The other is, you know, I was listening to Ola talk, and I'm like, yeah, my husband's the only son, but I kind of think maybe he might have a brother somewhere, so I need to call my mother-in-law, ask her, was you slipping around sometime? Because I think I met his twin somewhere by way of his wife. Because my husband can be the most supportive and the most shady at the same time. Like, so we still in here watching TV, but I thought you said, I'm just saying, I just, you know, you asked me to support you, and I'm just, you know, but I just, you know, I just wanted to make sure. So you ain't here watching TV on your computer. You're not working on, no, because I walked by and I just saw it. So I just wasn't sure. Okay, no, I'm actually like doing stuff. I was just taking a break. Okay. I mean, you know, breaks be like 15 minutes, but whatever, you know. So my family is extremely encouraging and motivating, and they keep me accountable, knowing that I don't want to listen. And so I hope what people take from this conversation today is, we may be really good in a particular discipline. We have a certain set of skills that is really great for the people that come to us as a service to, you know, learn about that skill. But we're not perfectionists. We're still individuals. We are still having very much a human experience. And so we need the people around us to be real with us, to be, you know, don't blow smoke. I don't need you to blow smoke. If something that I'm putting out into the world is ugly, or if it doesn't make sense to you, I need you to tell me that. And because I'm a human, because I'm a woman, because I'm passionate about, you know, like I'm like Erykah Badu, I'm sensitive about my stuff. Because of that, you gotta tell me the right way that is not a good look, because I may not be able to receive it, you know, and then it becomes problematic. So we are you. We're having the same experience as, so don't feel like you're all by yourself and you're all alone. You know, we're all having collectively the same experience, just at different points in time. So when I'm a little further down the road, I can tell you, there's a couple roadblocks up here, so tread lightly, slow down, don't drive so fast because you're going to run into this. That's really where the differences are for us. So, but my family is just, you know, and then I did hire, I hired my own business coach, because my first year and a half, I was struggling, and I was like, I'm great at what I do professionally. Why is this not translating into my business? Y'all, just because you are a really great singer doesn't mean you're going to be a great recording artist. Somebody has to teach you artist development and all of that stuff, you know. And so sometimes it's great to take your own advice. I am a coach. I needed a coach. I needed somebody who already has the acumen that I am ascribing to be able to pull me forward. So I'm so, you know, I tell Casey this all the time. I am so happy that she not only created a space, she built a house, then she built a room, then she built this huge table, and then she created all of us custom chairs that were fit to our own unique bodies and our own unique needs. And then she set us all down in spaces where we needed to be, so that the acoustics were great in that section of the room, so that when she was able to pour out to all of us, we had our own customized cups so that we could receive, and then we could just keep sharing and passing the plates. So it's more than about, we do a whole lot on social media, build our own table so we can, no, she built a house. So when the table is full, there's another room over there, y'all. We can go upstairs. We can sit on the porch. There's a porch swing. We can hang out in the yard. She built a place for us to commune. And that's really, really what it's all about. It's just making a space that we can all gather collectively, and we can all learn and grow and vibe and love on each other. So I'm so excited that our paths cross, that like the other lady said, that I saw this opportunity come by and I was just like, oh, I wonder who's gonna be there. That'll be cute. I'm not going, I'm not gonna try to, I'm not gonna put my little hat in the game, because there's somebody that's greater than me, or somebody who has more experience than me. But sometimes we have to remind ourselves that our experience and where we are in the season that we're in is not where somebody else's season is, and they're trying to get to our season. So we have what it takes to share something with somebody else. So I am full. I am blessed. I'm just so grateful for this moment, for this opportunity, and for this entire community, this global community of women, to just see what it's like when Black women come together on one accord, and what we can do when we work together. And we're not, because listen, the love and hip hop culture, that's really not who we are. That is not innately who we are. This is who we are. We are so much better than whatever gets portrayed out into the world. So love this space that you've created.
Bakita, you trying to make me cry? Somebody's onions. I don't understand what's going on. Thank you. Like, I didn't do anything. You all have power. You all motivate me and inspire me and teach me and encourage me, right? Every single day, right? And I just need to make sure that the world knows your name. That's my goal, right? Like, Blaze is building leaders and accepting zero excuses. And I don't care who was on Forbes last week or who was on CNN last month. Like, it's us, right? And so I'm not going to accept excuses from the world on why we can't show up on the internet, right? And on stages, and in white papers and in art. Like, I'm not accepting excuses from them. Like, I'll get to try there. I'll nudge enough. Some of y'all know I'll chase you down, right? But it's not me. Honestly, it's you all. Like, you all are the magic of this moment. I thank you so much for being part of this. I mean, every single woman that is listening right now, like, you are phenomenal, man. Like, you are creating and protecting space for other people so that they don't have to go through suffocating channels in corporate America that kill them and break them down and hurt their spirits. They can come work for you, sis, right? Like, they can use your product, sis. They can rub your lotion on their arms, sis, right? So y'all are the magic. And before we go, this hour has just sped by, but I really want to close out with affirmations, because, like we said at the beginning of this, like, this is a healing circle right here. This is fertile ground. Like, you guys have tilled this ground so beautifully, and I just want to water it before we go. Please say a sentence that starts with "I am," and you are welcome to close your eyes when you say your sentence. I'll go ahead and start. I am capable of creating the most beautiful things for beautiful people who deserve my help. Who would like to go next?
I will go. I am enough right now, at this moment, and I have every right to expect great things from the seeds I sow and work.
Go ahead, Jasmine.
I'm still putting the words together in my head. It was Casey and Ola. I had to just take a moment because those two really. I would say I am built with the breath of my ancestors, and their wisdom guides me on my journey and fills me with purpose and power.
I love that. Mine is, I think it's very simple. I am protected, I am safe, I am worthy, I am capable, I am covered, and I am loved.
Man, Ladies, please drop your I am statements in the chat so that you can share with the tribe as well and cleave to that. Know that, repeat a new one every single day, because this is planning and progress in entrepreneurship, healing things, letting people in, letting people support us, right? Doing it scared, but doing it, right? Because it's really about lasting, right? Denzel Washington said, overnight success takes 12 years. Woo! Overnight success takes 12 years. So we just got to make sure y'all stay in the ring, right? Thank you, ladies, so much. You are light, you are loved. You are everything. I see my great grandmother that I love so much when I look into your eyes. I mean that. I see the children that I have not had yet when I look into your eyes. You are my why. You are my why. Thank you so much for sharing space today.
Thank you.
Thank you.